The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells sweet and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old onceler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of the store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and he tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. At the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. And then he pulls up the pail, and he makes most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. And then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub and his secret strange hole in his grovulous glove. There's his snub. And then he grunts, I will call you by whisper phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Schlop. Down schlups the whisper-phone to your ear, and the old onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees. Ho, ho! The truffula trees. Ho, ho! The bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile, in the fresh morning breeze. Wow, what a beautiful place that looks, huh? Look, there's no pollution around, and all the air is clean, the water's clean, and the birds are singing up in the clean air, and the onceler arrives, and he sees the truffula trees. That looks like a nice place to live, huh? And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. So look who uses the tree. Oh, look at that. The brown barbaloots, and they eat the barbaloot fruits, the truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Aw, look. They all have a nice clean place with no pollution. No one's been throwing their trash around. There's no schloppity schlop. There's no pollution. No litter. Everything's clean and nice. But those trees, Oh, those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. Oh, I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'll do. I unloaded my cart. There's the Onslers. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and a great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. Uh-oh, look, the little barbaloops. He's wondering, what's this? Everything's clean, but look what he did. Oh, yucky, he just left a stump. But he chopped down that pretty truffula tree to make his thneed. Wonder what's going to happen. Let's see. The instant I'd finished, I heard a guzzup. I looked, and I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. The trees have no tongues, so I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing? That thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" Does he sound very happy about it? The Lorax? No. And who's he speaking up for? He's speaking up for the trees. He doesn't want the trees to be chopped down. They use it to make that tuft, that thneed. "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt. It's a sock. It's a glove. It's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that full thneed." Oops. Uh-oh. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. There he goes. Ha-ha. I laughed at the Lorax. "Ha! You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," said the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Be quiet, if you please." I rushed to the room, and in no time at all, I had built a radio phone, and I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts. I said, "Listen, here is a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." Thneeds, oh, look at the factory he built. What's going to happen with that factory? And that nice area all clean. Now look, trees are chopped down. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. They were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as beads, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Are they planting any of the trees? Nope, they're just chopping them down. And look what's happening. Look at the road they had to build and the pretty green grass. And then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door and he snapped. I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. And now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. See, look, the truffula fruits is what the bears ate. Well, if there's not enough trees, then there's not enough food for the bears. Look at that. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. A lot like, remember that story with the monkeys, where the monkeys all went away because there were no trees for them to play in? Well, these little brown barbaloots, they all have to go away because there's not enough truffula fruits for them to eat. I, the onceler, felt sad. And I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Oh, look at the pollution going into the air. Instead of throwing his trash away, he's just pumping it up into the air. Look at all that. Big factory now. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and biggered my money, which everyone needs. There's a little truck, you need a thneed, advertising his thneeds. But look, all the trees are being chopped down and going into that factory with all the trash and pollution being puffed out into the air. Does it look as pretty as it did before with the bright blue sky? Not as much anymore. And then he came back. I was fixing some pipes. That old nuisance, the Lorax, came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He gargled and sniffed. Onceler! He cried with a gruffulous croak. Onceler! You're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who's got smog in his throat. Oh, look, all the trash, instead of putting their smoke and smog someplace else in a clean way, they're just puffing it up into the air and making a big mess. And so the Lorax said, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here. So I'm sending them off. Yeah, they can't live there. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity glup. Your machinery chugs on. Shloop, flop, lop, 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 slop, lop, lop. Look at that. Chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup and also sloppity slop. And what will you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty, yucky old onceler man, you. Look at that. Where do you think he puts it? Do you think he throws it away or recycles it? No. Oh, he's spilling it into the pond where the hummingfish swim. Uh-oh. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. They can't stay. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is say, yap, 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 bad, bad, bad. Well, I've got my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From the outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. Oh, there it goes. Oh, now look. No more trees. No more needs. No more work to be done. So in no time, my aunts and uncles and everyone all waved goodbye, and they jumped into my cars and they drove away under smoke-smuggered stars. And that's all that was left of that, neath that bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. Remember what it used to look like? So that's what it looks like now. But when he first arrived, do you remember how pretty it was? But all of his litter and pollution really made a big mess, didn't it? Remember that? Let's see. Let's find what it looked like. When they first arrived, how pretty it was. Look at how green and blue the sky is. See, the green grass and the blue sky and the beautiful trees and how lovely everything was. But then his yucky factory messed it all up. Instead of taking care of things and littering, look at how pretty it was. Look at all the pretty animals and how happy everybody was, all swimming and nice. And now, because of pollution, look at how messed up it is. Look at that. Who wants to live there? There it is. There's his empty factory. And the Lorax said nothing. He just gave me a glance. Gave me a very sad, sad backward glance. And he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through the hole in the smog without leaving a trace. There it is, all just pollution now. No pretty animals. And all that the Lorax left here in this place was a small pile of rocks and one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was a long time ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word unless is perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So the Onceler said, catch. Here's something that he lets fall. It's a truffula seed, the very last one of them all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hacks, and then the Lorax and all his friends may come back. What else could he do to grow a forest and take care of that little seed? Keep it clean, give it a clean environment to be in. When there's pollution in the air and everything, then nothing can grow. See, nothing can grow if it's all smoggy. Smog is dirt in the air and pollution in the air. Well, boys and girls, what could the Lorax have done? He was building a factory, but what could he have done to prevent all of that trash from going up into the air or into the water? What ideas do you have?